Hey, folks, we had some hardware issues this week, and it affected the audio a little bit, so we apologize for those. And yet, we do nothing, and time continues on. Okay, bye. Welcome to America. Fill out all the paperwork you can in advance, because it's a lot. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. As you know, Jeff, I was recently diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome.
That's right. It makes me tired just hearing about it.
That's right. If you're unfamiliar, chronic fatigue syndrome just basically means I'm medically a bit of a sleepy guy.
He's just a little drowsy.
I'm medically just a snoozing little honk shoe of a boy. I went to the doctor and they ran tests, and the prognosis was give this guy a little floppy hat and a candle, because it's bedtime for him.
It's droopy eyes.
It's a little droopy eyed boy is what the doctor said.
How were the tests like? The examining room is over here, and you're like, do I have to?
Do I have to do it? That was also the same test for my ADHD.
Right.
So it's tough to tell the two apart. But yeah.
The test for that is how many times do we need to reschedule your appointment? if it's 4 or more, the diagnosis is done.
You ain't wrong. My friend's getting diagnosed right now. Has her diagnosis, but is getting sending in all the stuff that she needs to send in to get her medication. And one of the things she needs to do is just send them her blood pressure. And I was like, listen to me very carefully. Don't fall into this trap. Just go to the CVS or the Walgreens today, have your blood pressure taken, send it over on a form from the Walgreens with the date and the time. And she's like, no. They said it's easier just to order a blood pressure thing to the house. I was like, it is for the average person. I'm telling you what the trap is, and you're already falling for it.
This is the test.
This is it.
Is the test.
So she has to send a video from her phone of her blood pressure. Well, so first she sends a picture, and they go, no, it has to be a video. She's like, shit. So then she sends a video, and then she forgets about it for like a day and a half.
Yeah, I was going to say the picture to video. It has to be a video. All right, well, I'll do that.
All right, well, I'll do that later. Like, they sent me the email while I wasn't at home right next to the blood pressure thing. So then she sends the video, and they go, no, the video has to have the date in it, so we know that this is actually your current blood pressure. And now it's been another 3 days, and she's like, I still haven't gotten it. I was like, I told you the Walgreens was, it's a block away. I can see the Walgreens from your house. Just fucking go.
They need you to take your blood pressure and hold up today's newspaper. It's like,
yeah, like you've been kidnapped, like proof of life. So weird. But no, the testing for CFS was was basically there is no testing. They do some blood tests and stuff like that to make sure it isn't anything else, but there's no dedicated test that will tell you if you have chronic fatigue syndrome. I think we talked about this. It's because up until 20 years ago, it was considered a lady problem.
Right.
And we don't look into lady problems.
Yeah.
we write we as a society write down pretty hysterical, and then put that in the medical records, and then send the lady home.
You've been diagnosed with she crazy?
Yeah, you've been diagnosed with women. Am I right? But over the last 20 years,
my wife, please.
Yeah,
I don't
understand. But over the last 20 years, we've now figured out that it also happens with almost equal occurrence in men. So now we're studying it. And
that was a lucky turn for all those ladies.
Lucky
that it affected men too.
Yeah, thank goodness for them. But so there is no one test, but it's a whole long thing. But I'll tell you this: the long and short of the CFS thing is, boy, do I ever take little naps now. I'll fall asleep anywhere.
Do you feel like now, as with the diagnosis, now you're like, well, now I'm justified. Now I'm not being lazy. I'm just tending to my condition.
Yeah, actually, there is a lot of guilt, I think, associated with napping.
Yeah.
As an adult, and I don't have that anymore. I'll fall asleep literally anywhere. I'm one of those people now where, like, if I'm like on a shoot or on a job, I'm the guy who's like asleep in the chair backstage, and they wake me up and they go on stage, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, I'm that guy. Like, I'm right here if you need me, and I will be asleep.
That's pretty awesome, actually. I admire that. I wish I could relax myself in those situations better.
Well, the trick is I never feel better. That's the trick of being diagnosed medically sleepy is I never feel better after a nap. But it basically, like, you know, it keeps me running. But a nap can keep everybody running, Jeff.
I love a nap.
A nap is wonderful.
I love a nap.
Dude, a nap is unbelievable. I bet, especially now that you have two children that are human age that have their own motivations and want to do things all the time. I bet you would love a nap more than anything.
Oh, dude, incredible. I saw this thing recently where somebody said napping, not going out, staying home, all the things that used to be punishments when I was a kid are like my dreams of what I want to do.
Yeah. It turns out this was the cool thing all along.
It was napping is the greatest thing in the world. I literally keep a pillow in my office where I am right now because sometimes I'll just like lay down on the floor with my pillow and nap right here.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
You built your own little room. It's for you.
For me,
when the door is closed, daddy is working, and sometimes working is sleeping.
Yes.
I learned that from Don Draper.
That's all the best lessons come from him.
Of the Mad Men. But it turns out napping is good for about 1 million reasons. And one of the latest studies on sleep says that we should be doing it at work.
Amazing. Yes. Yes.
It says we should absolutely be napping at work. Workplaces should be fine with this, and they should not just be fine with it. They should be building areas and time into the schedule that works with this. I
don't want to cite anything that's apocryphal because I'm not 100% sure this is real, but I seem to remember Japan doing this for a period of time where they had business mandated napping. You know, where you'd have, is that a real thing? Am I remembering that correctly?
It is something that's built into a lot of different cultures. I mean, European cultures have siesta, a lot of this, the siesta, right?
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff. Like you should just be napping a little bit during the day. And
dude,
the reason is, according to a study published this week, habitual napping is associated with larger brain volume in adults. Brain
volume? Wow.
Big brains take big naps, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Scientists are suggesting that this raised the possibility that the practice offers some protection against neurodegeneration.
Do you think the big brain causes big naps is just because it's so hard to keep my head up when I have a big brain?
Oh,
it's just so heavy. I need to lay it down on a pillow.
So many thought. So many big idea.
My neck can't hold this giant brain.
Oh, that's it. Like, imagine so many important thing up there. Tough to carry it all around.
Heavy.
I mean, this is sort of the thing is like neurodegeneration is the same as any other kind of degeneration in an adult. You know, we know that after we turn, I believe it's after 40, it's something like we lose 1% of muscle or 0.5% of muscle every year if we don't get a proper amount of exercise. We know that there's bone mass degeneration. This is just something that the human body does. If you don't keep up with it in the right way, if you don't maintain it the right way, you know, muscles atrophy, things happen. Brain shrink. And this is just one of a bunch of different studies that have been done over the last couple of years that sort of lead to, number one, we're definitely not getting enough sleep as a society. anywhere around the world. But number two, if we were getting more sleep, particularly naps, we would be in a much, much better place as a society, or at least as individuals.
Now, is there any data to suggest that napping is superior than getting 8 to 9, whatever hours of nighttime sleep?
Well, that's something that needs to be studied a bit more. But what we can say is there's a scientist by the name of Matty Toma, a researcher from the University of Warwick over in the UK. Pip, and Bob's your uncle to all of our listeners over there. And Matty was saying that they, along with a team over at MIT and Harvard, did a huge study of working class and lower income adults in Chennai, India. And what they found is people in Chennai, India are only sleeping about 5.5 hours a night on average, despite spending 8 hours in bed every night.
So what? They just spent 3 hours awake in bed?
Yeah. And because their sleep is getting highly interrupted, their sleep efficiency, and this is something that's happening around the world, sleep efficiency is comparable to those with disorders such as sleep apnea or insomnia. So people who are just not getting enough sleep at night for whatever reason, even if you're lying in bed resting, if you're not getting enough sleep at night, it can cause a lot of problems. They found that improvements to home sleep environments increase their sleep duration by 27 minutes a night and made them more efficient and had tiny, tiny effects on cognition, productivity, decision-making, well-being, blah, blah, blah. But in contrast, giving those same people a short nap during the day at work upped every metric by over the standard deviation.
So nap superior to better sleep at night.
Early studies are showing that naps could be more efficient than better sleep at night.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, a lot of people have huge, huge issues sleeping at night. Insomnia is at an all-time high. Sleep disorders are at an all-time high. And we're always thinking like, if I could just get another hour of sleep at night, if I could just like get to bed at a better time, if I could wake up just a little bit later, if I can get that extra 20 minutes or whatever, or 30 minutes, I might feel a little better during the workday. No, you won't. You know what's going to make you feel better during the workday?
Take a nap.
Little nappy nap.
Now, this is anecdotal, of course, but my wife, who struggles with getting enough sleep, one of our big New Year's resolutions this year was to try to work on sleep and hydration. And so she has really efforted getting to bed earlier, and she has to get up super early for work. So she's one of these people that gets up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and does stuff before the kids are awake. Meanwhile, I'm snoozing.
Yeah.
But so she's efforted getting to sleep earlier, but I have suggested numerous times, take a nap in the middle of the day. Hard for her just because of her work schedule. But more than that, her response is always, I can't nap. I hate napping. I can't nap because when I come out of the nap, I feel like I'm in a fog that's hard for me to shake.
Now that's called sleep inertia. And sleep inertia happens.
Things that are sleeping tend to stay sleeping.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. Your body done been sleeping and you get up and you try to move around. Your body's like, but I'm so cozy. I'm so cozy. It's essentially, if you sleep over a certain amount of time, if you sleep over a cycle, you need to get through the next cycle. It's why they have those apps now. They're like, what time do you want to get up by? What's the latest time you could get up? And we will analyze your sleep and try to wake you up at the lightest point in your sleep cycle so you wake up with the most energy. Sleep inertia is basically based on that. What that means is she's either napping too long or too short when she takes her naps.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
But the nap is the way to, I mean, a lot of people feel this way. Some people won't take a nap because they're like, I'm afraid that if I take a nap, I'll sleep too long. and then I won't sleep at night, or I can't. A lot of people are like, I can't get to sleep during the middle of the day. I worry too much during the middle of the day. I have too much energy, and that's because, Jeff, we ain't built our culture around napping.
That's got to change. I really do think this is profound. I think that is an uphill fight, because I think Americans in particular are so got to get ahead, got to do more than the next guy, don't even take vacations, work ethic. I don't even know if it's work ethic, but it's just anxiety around work.
Yeah.
I think won't allow us to do that. But if there is a way to change the cultural impression of a nap, I think it would be so useful.
Yeah. So there are large companies that have tried to do this. Even here in the States, one of the biggest ones is Nike, the Nike headquarters in Portland. They have rooms where people can nap. Google has sleep pods that they have installed around the office.
Right.
Ariana Huffington says that she has in all of her, she co-founded the Huffington Post, and now she owns this wellness company, Thrive Global. She has sleep pods in all of her offices because she has long said that she takes a nap in the middle of the day and always has. The issue with this is there are two issues. Number one is, like you're saying, there's this idea. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Do you know what the best company that has nap rooms is?
Tempur-Pedic?
You'd think so. Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, yeah. To have some ice cream and take a nap.
Dude,
that is, to me,
eat a pint and just pass out from the sugar crash.
That's called Friday night for me.
That's literally, I mean, honestly, they say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ben, Jerry.
They got to figure it out.
If you're hiring, you know what I mean?
We're available.
We're available. The National Health Service in the UK has started adopting this, with a large number of hospitals introducing sleep pods for the staff in order to help them get more rest. And because they found that these short naps can boost staff productivity in the afternoons by 14%. And when I think about working in an office, whenever I'm in an office doing a full work day, I think about 3 p.m., Jeff.
The dreaded 3 p.m.
3 p.m.'s the worst time.
3 p.m. 3 p.m. Where could it be?
2 to 3 p.m. is just the worst. No matter what kind of job it is, no matter what I'm doing, I'm just sitting there. I'm zoning. I feel terrible.
Yeah.
That's when everybody's like, that's when we go out and we get a little coffee or we get a little snack to pick us up to feel a little better. No. 2 p.m. That's your body. That's everybody's body telling us, get over your bullshit. Take a little nappy nap.
I got to tell you, I recognize the fact that I'm in a very fortunate position. I work from home. I don't have a boss looking at me. I make my own hours for the most part. But I will tell you my strategy, and this is what I have lectured to my wife about. I've tried to proselytize about this. I will get to a feeling where I know that laying down, literally, that's what I told you. I have a pillow in my office. I will lay down. I will move 6 inches from the chair I was sitting in, feeling a little drowsy. I will move. I will lay down on the floor with my pillow and nap, and it will do so much more for me for the rest of the day than just trying to stay there and power through and fight it. I have just stopped fighting it completely.
Don't fight it. Have you ever seen a little kid fighting sleep? It makes you sad. Why does it not make you
adorable?
Well, it's adorable, but you're just like, hey, little bud, you need a little nap. You need to just take a little nap. We need to do that to each other.
We need a baby panda fight sleep.
We need to do that to each other. If you see a friend at work, if you see a coworker that's yawning and stretching, and you can tell that you just be like, hey, bud, you don't need to, hey, little baby boy, you You don't need to
Just a
fight
pillow.
sleep. Just lay your head down on your keyboard until the little Windows sticky key alarm goes off. Meep, 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 meep. Maybe that's happened to me a few times. I don't know. Maybe
That's the thing that I do not do. And my wife, you know, on the rare occasions when she does indulge in a nap, she will set an alarm. She's like, I can't go more than 20 minutes or I feel terrible, which is kind of what you were talking about the too long or too short.
Yeah, 20 minutes
Hers
is actually
feels like-
perfect.
Yeah. She says if she goes more than 20, she doesn't feel good.
Dude, I feel like your wife is one of those people where because she's so like organized about everything, I feel like when she decides it's time to sleep, she literally just sleeps.
That is true. That I've never seen anyone in my entire life fall asleep faster than my wife.
That's wild to me. So
She like turns a switch off on her robot. You know? She just like, boop.
I am so jealous of those people because if I set an alarm for a nap for 20 minutes, in that 20 minutes, I will still not be asleep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of those
that's not
people.
good. Yeah.
I am one of those people.
She's a little clockwork being. Sleep can come to her so quickly. I've never seen anyone fall asleep. My son has that too. He must have gotten it from her. He can go to sleep very fast. My daughter is like me, she's like bouncing off the walls.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Anyway, I can't.
People who sleep, how? People who sleep, how you do? Explain yourself.
I'm not able to. One of the things that I find disruptive, and I think this is back to the cycles thing you were talking about. I cannot set an alarm when I nap, but almost invariably, if I lay down on the floor and I take a nap, I will wake up an hour later, almost exactly an hour later. And I'll just wake up and I'll feel great.
Dude, there's a thing, Viktor Frankl, who was a psychoanalyst and is mostly known for writing about being his experiences in the Holocaust, but he wrote a thing where he has a lot of patients who have problems sleeping, and then the anxiety of not being able to sleep actually makes you double not able to sleep, right?
Yeah. Right.
And he talks a lot about that pre-anxiety that people have, and he said he always tells his patients the body knows how much sleep it's supposed to get and will sleep when it needs to. And as long as you remember that, you're going to be okay. There's no way your body just won't pass out when it absolutely needs to. And I feel like that's sort of the thing is like, if you go to sleep and you wake up exactly an hour later, that's your body going, man, an hour is exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Well, that's what I try to do. I try to listen to that and I try to not fight it. I go, you know what? My body's saying I need to sleep. Everything can wait. And again, I recognize I'm fortunate to be in a position where I'm able to make my own hours and say everything can wait.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. And I just stop, sleep, and come back. And then I can work again.
Man,
do you have any strategies for falling asleep? Do you do anything to rest or calm your mind?
Get out a big wooden mallet. Bonk, bonk, bonk. I do the same thing when I see a pretty lady. I get out a big wooden mallet and just hit myself 3 or 4 times. Sleep for me is and has always been tricky. Yeah. I have a weird thing with my internal clock that some people have. It's connected a lot to ADHD and to depression, where my internal clock is just off. I want to be late to bed, late to rise. There's no way to switch that for me. I'm completely off from the lighting cycle most times. So sleep can be tricky, but not anymore. Like I said, now I just sleep all the time, but I don't feel very rested medically.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think, back my entire life, I've been doing things like, I have certain movies or TV shows that are movies that are interesting enough to keep my brain chatter down, but not so interesting that I have to pay attention to them, or podcasts. Yeah. Podcasts, I feel like as much as we'd like to believe that y'all are really listening and engaged and just hanging on every moment of this. We get that most of the time y'all put a podcast on and fall asleep. That's okay. We're real with that.
Okay.
It's all right. Have you heard like the first 33% of every one of our episodes?
Hey, we're fine.
We're fine with that. We're fine with that. But yeah, it's all stuff like that. I can tell you what some of these companies that have embraced this stuff are doing to help people get to sleep.
Mallets all across the board.
Yeah, every
series of mallets.
It's sort of like how in companies like in the 60s, the tea trolley would come down the hall.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's just a big cartoon mallet that comes down and just clocks you. A lot of these companies are not just installing things like sleep pods, they are also doing things like installing regulated lighting systems to fix melatonin. A lot of people are saying like that's a huge thing to do. Like if you have smart lights, one of the things you can do is like have your smart lights come on bright in the beginning of the evening, like right around sundown, but then have your lights start changing temperature and brightness throughout the day. So by the time you're ready to go to bed, it's been kind of like dim in your house for a little while, or it's been slowly dimming and your body's sort of been slowly. And I've noticed that really helps. Like if I have my lights on a timer like that, it really helps.
We're dimming the cabin lights, everybody. We're dimming the cabin lights.
Exactly. Exactly. Other than that, I mean, you know, they tell you not to use screens. I don't know about that. Everything's a screen.
Yeah.
Everything. Because they also tell you, they say don't do screens, but then they also tell you don't read. Okay. All right. No screens and no reading. Now what am I doing? You tell me what I'm doing. Because I don't know at this point. No screens and no reading. No screens, no reading, and no intense physical activity at the end of the day. So, all right, what am I doing?
Don't eat.
And don't eat. What you need to do if you want to get to sleep by 10 p.m. is at 6 p.m., sit still. Just sit still.
Yeah.
Try to be in a meditative state for a good 4 hours. And then you can sleep.
Eventually you'll tip over.
But here's the thing. It wouldn't matter as much. It wouldn't matter as much how we get to sleep at night if we would take these naps during the day.
I love this napping notion. I like that. I'm very fortunate. I have never had a real issue with sleep. And I hear about people talking about sleep being a real challenge. And I'm so grateful, knock on wood, that I haven't had that issue with my life. But I also feel like I listen to my body and I'm able to do that. I'm able to just go, nope, peace out, time to sleep.
That's the biggest thing is it's hard to tell a company that letting people sleep at work is better for productivity. It's tough. It's hard to get a company on board with that, right? Because how do you tell the average company that the best way to get the most productivity out of all of your employees is just to let them sleep for 30 minutes in the middle of the day? And that's not their lunch break. They also have to have their lunch break, but then they also get a nap time. And all you're hearing as some large corporation is, okay, so that's an hour already of an 8-hour day that they're not working. You know what I mean? As opposed to the half hour, which, by the way, it's supposed to be a lunch hour. By the way, it's supposed to be a lunch hour. And the fact that it turned into an industry standard 30 minutes is bullshit. And I'd like, if anybody knows exactly when that happened, I would like, you could put it on the Discord or something, because I would like to hear about that. But there was a study done in 2018 by the Rand Research Corporation that says that we could be losing 3% of our gross domestic product to the sleepies.
Just a little drowsy seeping away of our GDP.
Yeah, just a little nap. And just if we would just take a little nap, we'd be bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to get that 3% back. That doesn't sound like a lot, but let me tell you something. Companies have had layoffs over less. Companies have shouted. Companies have called entire staff meetings and shouted at their employees for less. I know. I've been in them.
3% of the GDP is not a small number.
It's not a small number.
Yeah.
3% is not a small number.
Should we call that the GD sleepy?
The GD sleepy. Just a little sleepy little guy. In addition, Jeff, there's been studies that say these naps actually help us learn more. For a few
your brain
reasons.
is calm to process it. Yeah.
For a few reasons. Number one is going to sleep helps clear the brain's short-term memory and helps to organize the data that's in your brain. So if you've been working for a half a day and then you go to sleep, your brain's taking all that stuff in your short-term memory and it's going, what do I need to commit here? What do I need to put away? What do we need to store for later? And you're better to, it makes it easier to recall that stuff. Also, a study says that if you wake up after a 30-minute nap, you wind up retaining about 40% more information than somebody that didn't take a nap during the day.
Wow, 40%.
40%.
Yeah.
Like, as a matter of fact, they're telling kids that that do all-nighters, pulling the all-nighter, studying for an exam. They always tell you all-nighters don't work, and they don't. But some of us have ADHD, and we don't do anything until there's a deadline, and so I need to do the all-nighter. But if instead of doing an all-nighter, you study a full day, take a nap, you're going to remember a lot more. Think about that. You're going to commit about 30% more of that stuff that you learned in the morning to your memory. And then when you wake up, you'll be able to take in about 40% more and remember 40% more information than you did before. That's wild.
That's wild. And I think it tracks with my experience, This is another reason, I'll read before bed and I'll realize I just read 3 pages of this book and I don't remember anything because I'm tired.
Yeah.
Close the book. Try again tomorrow. Listen to ourselves, I think, and not fight it and feel like you're, I would love companies. It's just become normal operating procedure to be like a preschool. Everybody just unrolls their little blankie.
Yes.
We all lay down next to each other, step out of your cubicles, walk over to the nap area, unroll your blankie, maybe have a sandwich.
Have a sandwich. Unroll the blankie. I looked up exactly how much the Rand Corporation says that we're losing to how much money we're losing. Yeah. Not just us, but other countries. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
In the United States, we're losing $411 billion a year to sleepiness.
Wow.
$411 billion, almost $500 billion to sleepiness, Jeffrey.
The little sleepies are coming in the night and taking our money. They're stealing it right out of our pockets.
Japan loses $138 billion. Germany, $60 billion. The United Kingdom, $50 billion. Canada, $21.4 billion, which means Canada makes over $21.4 billion a year.
You wouldn't expect that.
What is Canada?
I mean, there's a lot of maple syrup to sell.
There's maple syrup, sketch comedy, hockey, television production, politeness. Is there money to be made in being polite?
We haven't found out. That's for sure.
That's for sure. We wouldn't know. But if there is money to be made by being polite, we should look into that.
The saddest thing, have you ever seen a little sleepy hockey player? Just can barely push the puck around with his stick.
Just slide. His feet are just like sliding around on the ice, and he's trying to lean. He's leaning his little chin on the top of his hockey stick.
Just so sleepy.
He's just
it's
so
like
sleepy.
You're losing money right now, Canuck. You're losing it.
Come on. The CDC, Jeff, has declared insufficient sleep a public health problem. 1/3 of us are not getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
And if we would just take a little nappy.
Come on. I would love to know how they calculate those billions. What's that based on? But
yeah, so it's basically like, So the project team basically set out to develop an understanding of the factors associated with insufficient sleep and poor sleep quality. Okay. Then they took a look at all the existing other studies that linked insufficient sleep and mortality risk to figure out the health approaches to it. Then they basically like took the productivity effects of insufficient sleep based on all the studies they ran, using like all of the employee data that they could get, and then they basically connected that productivity data to their sleep studies and what happened to individuals in sleep studies, and basically did it as an estimate, right? So these smaller studies, like the ones that they did in Chennai, like the ones that that they've done around the world, the ones that the NHS have done, they took it and they were like, okay, well, we've basically shown that people are about 30% more productive, or, you know, get X amount more things done in these study groups when they've taken a nap. Now, if we can apply that data to larger economic data, what does that mean, and how much money does that equate to? So, I mean, of course, it's an estimate, and it's based on it's stats and data science more than it is, you know, having the entire United States workforce connected to like a, you know, like a heart rate meter or something.
Sure.
Everybody's got like a functional MRI connected to their heads while they work. But doing that, they sort of based it. So they basically said, on an annual basis, the US, based on productivity with and without naps, we lose about 1.2 million working days due to insufficient sleep. So they took that 1.2 million working days lost, and they said, what's the GDP? What do we make in a day?
Yeah, right.
And then connected it to that. You know, Japan loses about 600,000 working days a year. The UK and Germany lose about 200,000 working days. And, you know, they also connected it to all this other stuff too, right? Where if you sleep less than 6 hours a night, like these workers in Chennai were, and you're not making up that sleep with a nap, or you're not making up that rest anywhere, you know, you get a 13% higher mortality risk than somebody sleeping between 7 and 9 hours. You know, we've talked about stuff like this before, where it's like the sleep deficit is such a huge health factor. You know, going back to my friend who had to send in her blood pressure to these doctors, hasn't been sleeping well, and so her blood pressure's all over the place. And so it's like, well, I have a high blood pressure this week. I don't know why. And I'm like, have you been sleeping?
Yeah.
If you haven't been sleeping, that's 100% why it's happening. You know?
I think the real trick here is not even a physical one, but a psychological one, because I think we need to decouple the notion of sleep from the notion of laziness.
Yes.
You know? And I think that's unfortunately a very ingrained connection that we have, especially in American culture, but all over the world. It's, if you sleep, especially on the job, you're lazy. And that is, you know, that's a detriment to all of us, is how lazy you are. But I don't think that, I think laziness is a thing, but I don't think it necessarily has to be connected to sleep.
No. I mean, you look at all the different things we do to workers because we believe in the image of productivity, or the image of being hardworking. And a lot, you know, it's kind of like how you walk into the grocery store and the cashiers are not sitting on stools or sitting on chairs. Why not?
Right. Yeah.
I don't care that the cashier's standing. Why would the cashier need to be standing? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Give him a little pillow in a station.
Give him a little pillow. And you know what? Give him a little pillow and a little white noise machine. And when I come up with my groceries, it says, you know, there's a little sign that says, you know, please tap Greg gently. He is dreaming. And, you know, and you can see Greg's little hands moving like,
yeah, like he's running in a field.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg, he's running in a field. Look at him.
And you go, hey, bud. Hey, bud. And you just gently, like, maybe run your fingers through Greg's hair. You go, hey, bud, it's time to run the express lane, buddy. I've got 10 items.
10 items or less.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I got 10 items. Hey, pal. Good morning,
right.
sleepyhead.
Do you have any coupons?
I do. I have so many coupons, Greg.
Okay. All right. Give me a second.
Now, the baggers need to be standing and they need to be wearing wrist weights. I want to see them working. I want to see
No rest for the baggers.
No rest for the baggers.
Work up to cashier.
That's right. Prove yourself. We've learned nothing. Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the nap revolution. Let's start the nap revolution.
We got it.
After I lay down for just a few minutes. I definitely want to start the revolution.
Here's the thing.
Give me like 45 minutes.
Jeff, that's the beauty of starting this revolution is you're doing it. That's the thing. You're doing it. Is like, I'm ready to start the revolution. I just need a little nappy first. No, baby. You are doing it. You are the revolution.
That's synergy.
You're leading the charge right now.
I have a dream, and I'm about to have a dream. So just give me a second.
Give me a little second to write it down in my little dream journal that I keep next to the bed. Yeah, I'm all for it. You know, like you said, we're lucky in that we work freelance, and you know, even on the days when I am working sort of long hours, I have these little 10 to 15 minutes at a time where I'm not working, where I get to just kind of sit. So I'm very lucky about that. The thing that we need to do, and I mean, this is part of a much larger conversation going on in the United States right now, but we need to be completely rethinking work and the work day and what work means and how people get paid and all of this stuff. But you know, one of the things that would really help is giving everybody a little nappy.
Baby steps. I think that's great. I mean, I think you hear lots of discussion about, you know, getting more solid sleep at night. And I think much less discussion about the midday nap. And I would love to swing that pendulum, you know, I'd love to people maybe swing the pendulum back and forth and just relax, just focus on the pendulum.
Or a metronome or a white noise, you know, whatever works for you. Maybe this podcast. Hold on. Let me, I'll do it.
Was that a ship passing?
That was a ship passing in the night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. I don't know.
No, I liked it.
All right.
Okay, for the next. All right, the podcast, there's going to be like 40 to 50 minutes here at the end where we're just going to do those noises for you, ladies and gentlemen, as a service. Yeah.
Before we get started, though, we do want to remind you that if you're enjoying the show, head to our Patreon, patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. If you do, you get access to, for just $1 a month, you get access to the Discord. You can hang out with the rest of the We Have Concerns community. And as you give a little bit more, you get bonus episodes, extra videos, monthly Q&As, all kinds of wonderful stuff. Check it out at patreon.com/We Have Concerns.
We have concerns.
No, not that one. Not that one.
I went too far. I'm sorry.